Hey everybody, welcome to Monday Night Live in Lexington, you guys.
First of all, thank you all for being here. As you know, my name is Rachel Curtis. I'm an adult programming partner. Kathryn Kauffman, all the way from Lexington, joining us here tonight.
My name is Kathryn Kauffman, and I'm a psychic medium here in Lexington, Kentucky. Welcome to my every Monday night show. This is where we discover what and who we are in this journey called life. As you probably know from watching, all of these episodes are put on the YouTube channel, and I'm going to go ahead and drop a link in the comments for the chat so that we can get the chat started here. Hey to Connie Milligan, Taya, Kathy, Melissa Begley, big shout out to you, and Miss Cleo. Shout out to Jasmine, Leanne, Joy. A special shout out to Val. What's the weather like up there? Jamie Mays, Grabowski, and Eddie Finley, and Tracy Turner, and Charlotte Northcutt. Hey Trina, yeah, you made it. And a special shout out to Tara. Good to see you here. Yes, Melissa, it is again a magical Monday. Shout out to all you guys over here on Instagram, and Joy, thanks for joining me. Tonight's episode is going to be on what is an old soul. But before we get into that, I want to shout out to the people on my professional page, Kathryn Kauffman, Psychic Medium. You feel free to hang out there and watch the show. The stream is going on the business page as well. But if you want to join the live chat, I did leave a link for you there to hop over here to the personal page and join in the chat here. Now, we've had, I called it the Brighten Your Life series. The Gemstone seminars just ended August 22nd. But I wanted to let you know there are still people purchasing the information. So if you want the full teaching PDF to save and keep, and you want a link to the recorded webinars, you can still purchase those for $15 a piece. And so the three webinars that we did were healing with gemstones. That was number one. Number two was metaphysical uses of gemstones. That was one that was really deep. And then the third one was spiritual communication with gemstones, where we learned, how to use channeling crystals as a go-between to communicate with loved ones that have passed on, and techniques to do that. So that was a really good seminar. So if you want to have those and you want that information, you can still get it. Just message me here on Facebook and I will tell you how to do that. And they're just $15 a piece. So a really good deal on that. Now we're going to discuss what is an old soul. And you guys, if you have any questions at all, please feel free to shout out in the comments. The feed's kind of going fast, and I will try to keep my eye on any questions that might pop up. Shout out to Debbie Thompson and her honey, Lacey. Special shout out to my man Rob. Christina, you look so beautiful in your pictures. I just absolutely love them. And Houston and Steve up in Louisville, Stephen, my food man, Pamela, Adam Law, Vicky, and Ellen and Ina. Okay. And over here on Instagram, hey to Christina, and a special shout out to my son, Michael Lawrence. And good to see you. Hope you're doing okay. So, what is an old soul, guys? Have you ever been told that you were an old soul? That's kind of the first indicator of being an old soul, is other people recognizing that your energy is mature, your energy is experienced. You may feel like you've been around before, like this is not your first rodeo. So the first indicator is that you have experience with several lifetimes or incarnations, and other people recognize that from talking to you. And often kids will exhibit more mature behaviors or more mature thoughts on things, and somebody will make the comment, that child is an old soul. Yes, I know. I've been looking forward to this too. And hey to Merlina. And talking about children too, they will often exhibit very mature behaviors, like instead of wanting to read comic books, they're more interested in what you're reading, or maybe other works of literature they're interested in, but they have trouble relating to kid-like stuff, because to them it's not complicated enough, it's too easy, and it doesn't have the depth that they need for their old soul thought process. The kids often will exhibit a lot of wisdom for their age, and sometimes, they'll say stuff that kind of takes you back, and you have to sit and go, wow, that just came out of their mouth. That's pretty cool. And it kind of makes you wonder what's going on in that child's mind when they say something that is very wise or very mature for their age. Another thing is that old souls classically exhibit extremes of emotion. When they're happy, they're exuberant. The happiness is just flowing out. And when they're sad, it's profound sorrow. So their emotions, the range of emotions are extreme. And you rarely see them, with a mild emotion. It's usually very profound when they experience the emotions. Often kids will make these wise observations or statements at a very young age, and those statements will kind of clue you into that is an old soul. And what that means is, the old soul means that they have life experience energy. The vibration of the person kind of emanates experience with incarnations. They don't lose that vibration of experience. The memories may be stored in the non-conscious mind, but the vibration of experience is still there and still emanating. Melissa says, more empathic. Yes. Classically, old souls are very psychic and very empathic, hence the extremes of happiness and sorrow, because empaths feel, and that's their main technique, is the gift of feeling. And so that's what you're seeing with these wide vacillations of the emotions. Now, here are some of the problems in being an old soul, especially for a child. It can produce a disconnection from classmates or playmates because their vibration or their feeling is more experienced, and it's not on the same level as other children. This can lead to isolations and the child feeling like they're alone or a loner. And this can also lead to kind of behavioral problems, in that they don't know how to relate to other children because they're more comfortable with older kids or even adults. And you'll often see these children kind of gravitating over towards the adults to hang out with the adults rather than wanting to hang out with the kids, because classically they don't fit in with other kids. These children are not concerned with the latest styles, or who's got more money, or who's more fashionable. These children are more concerned with like deep subjects and more adult topics of concerns about life and the universe, and topics like that, poetry. And so it's difficult for them to even communicate with children their age. So it can lead to loss of learning how to communicate with other people. And often they will seek out older company to converse and spend time with. Shout out to Christie. Hey. So they're classically disinterested in typical things of their age group, and they exhibit odd interests with things more of adult themes. They don't like to beat around the bush about conversations, and they want to get straight to the point. And the interesting thing about the child who is an old soul is they're very perceptive. They use their psychic abilities, and they can tell when the adults are beating around the bush or skirting around the topic. And so with these type of children, it's best just to put it bluntly, even if you know they're not going to like what you say. They will come more trusting what you say rather than candy coating something, and they'll always evaluate the information that you give them if they think that you have a habit of candy coating things. Shout out to all you guys over here on Instagram. And if you guys have any questions too, just put them in the comments. For those of you on the business page, if you want to make a comment or ask a question, there's a link there for you to come over to this page where the chat is going on. Hey to Andrea and Paige. So yeah, don't candy coat things or beat around the bush with these type of children. They old souls also connect with the universal life force at a very deep level, and they're always searching for the truth of things and why, the whys about everything. And so when kids go through that why phase, these are some of the worst, because that old soul already wants to know why, and then you add that phase along with it and becomes doubly why. But usually they ask really poignant questions about, why is the moon in the sky? Why is the sky blue? And why is the water blue? Just really deep, profound universe type of questions. So be on your toes and be prepared to give the scientific facts behind it and know the workings of the world around you, because they want to know the universe and why everything is the way that it is. Often old souls will gravitate to careers such as, scientists, healers, seekers of truth, teachers, because they've already been around once. They have this life experience from other incarnations. And so they have that experience to lend to people. They have that deep wanting to know why, which is perfect for any kind of scientist or delving into problems. And the teacher in them, from their past experience of life, is they want to share that. And because they're empathic, they want to help other people, and they want to share this with other people. Sorry. So Arthea says her grandson is an old soul. Oh, great, Arthea. You will have to go back and watch the beginning of this too. And Paige says her son is an old soul as well. Hey to Brenda J and Christy. And hey, special shout out to Zoe. So, yeah, be prepared to explain things. And if, your kid says, I want to be a scientist, that's probably why. I want to be a teacher, I want to be a doctor, I want to be a healer. It's the empathic old soul in them that wants to help other people and find out more about the world that they're in. So they will gravitate to those type of careers unless they gravitate. Now, old souls are extremely creative. So a lot of artists that feel very profoundly are old souls. And so if they're not in a profession of science or teaching or healing, you will find them many times as artists, because they're using that gift of creative nature and feeling to put into their works. And because they connect with things on a universal level, they can really get that creative urge and put it onto paper or put it into a statue or whatever they're working on. Hey to Sheila and Yasmin and Sheila Arthur and Marquis and Virginia. So, okay, let's go down the list here. Healers will often be, or the old soul will often be healers that are drawn to natural therapies, because the old soul is very connected to earth. You know, they've been here more than once. They love it. Otherwise, they wouldn't come back over and over and over. So they're very connected to the planet and nature from the planet. So they're really attracted to natural therapies, things that come from the earth, herbs, essential oils, natural remedies, all of that old souls are very attached to and attracted to. So Arthea says he had a new babysitter Saturday night. He tells me how to hold her. Oh, your new baby. Yeah, congratulations. He told you how to hold her and swaddle her. That is a classic old soul Arthea. He's very caring. He wants to help. And so, yeah, I agree with you that he's an old soul. So Rob says, not only empathic, we tend to see things at the younger age and feel experiences that older folks go younger, all about nature. Yes, absolutely, Rob. Old souls are very, very deep and feel very, very profoundly. Often so much so that it can cripple them if not handled appropriately and not, cultivated and nurtured to overcome the limitations of that. So, it can be hampering in a way. I'm just checking for comments over here. So, they're very attached to the planet. Now, here is another thing I noticed about old soul is old souls have a tendency, even though they're attached to the planet and to things from the planet, there is a tendency to feel like this isn't home, like home is somewhere else, and that the earth is a temporary residence. So there's always the feeling in an old soul that they belong somewhere else, and that, this is good for now and they're enjoying it, but the true home feeling is not on this planet. Hey to Teresa Roughton. So there's it's an uneasy feeling that they're not quite at home. So that goes along with being an old soul. Now, old souls absolutely they need to be alone, and they need to isolate to reflect inwardly on themselves and on the relationships around them. They have to have quiet and isolation to think about very deep questions about how they relate to the universe and how they relate to their families and their friends. And they're always questioning whether or not they're doing a good job, whether or not they're relating to people okay, and questioning whether or not that they can improve what things, and constantly going over the things that they've done wrong, sort of almost obsessively going over mistakes that they've made to try to see if there were options they could have done better, and really trying hard not to make the same mistakes again. So they're really making the most of each incarnation, and they're very hard on themselves when they do that. So Trina says, absolutely, I've always felt I don't belong here 100%. So yeah, Old souls feel like the earth is a temporary, it's like a temporary apartment that you're staying in for a while, but you always feel like home is somewhere else. Hey to Steve Hawkins. So let's see. Yes, we have to be alone to reflect, answer questions about the self. But here's another thing, that a reason why old soul / empaths have to isolate is that we take, activity with other people so seriously and so intently that there's a lot of emotion that builds up behind that. And so what we have to do is almost detox some of that energy away so that the environment becomes calm enough for us to exist in. Because, we get so overly focused on who we're interacting with, doing a good job for that person, maybe communicating with them in a way that helps them to the very best of our ability. And it takes a lot of energy. And there's a big energetic exchange between an old soul and the person that they're communicating with, because the old soul takes this very seriously. And they really don't like small talk. That's kind of why when they ask you a question, they want you to get to the point and be very blunt, because they want to get to the meat and bones of the conversation and get about trying to fix or trying to help you with whatever you're trying to talk to them about. So Sheila says, my home would be in the woods. Yes, absolutely. Taya says, no one understands why I like to be alone when figuring everything out. Well, that's why, Taya, you're an old soul, and it's because of the depth of reflection that's required by the old soul, because we do take everything so seriously. And I think it is because the old soul realizes that time is limited, and they really want to make the most out of this life experience as they can. And so each thing is of utmost importance to the old soul. Short and sweet. Yes, Arthia, absolutely. Now, when we were talking about how old souls like to be scientists, teachers, healers, seekers of truth, also artists, it's because that creative push or the creative nature of the old soul is that they really have this drive and the need to see the beauty of the planet and the beauty in all things. So much so that often we will disregard imperfections, and when somebody tries to point out imperfections to an old soul, we won't want to talk about that. We'll just kind of ignore the imperfections, because we realize that those imperfections don't matter, because we're seeing the depth and we're seeing the deep part of everything. So Ina says that she requires alone time, crave it, rejoice in it. Absolutely. And part of that, Ina, is you're detoxing the energy that you spend when you're in conversation with other people. So Arthea says, old souls get bored easily. Change is needed always. Yes, I think, Arthea, it is because the old soul wants to make the most out of every minute that they have in this incarnation. And so we know that time is wasting, and there's no room for stagnation. So when things start to seem a little boring, we're very impetuous and very pushy, because we want to get things going. We want to get to the meat and bones of things. Hey to Sean Wilson and Christy Huff. This was another one that surprised me, is that old souls are sensitive to changes in temperatures, foods. A lot of times it's difficult for an old soul to regulate foods. They're very drawn to things that are easily digested, things that are difficult to digest. It's hard for old souls to accommodate that. And so a lot of old souls will have trouble with foods that are highly processed or highly fibrous. So we're very sensitive to changes in the temperature, especially when the seasons change too. So Trina says, I crave excitement. I'm a thrill seeker. So you're making the most out of this incarnation. Thank you, Christie says she's loving this episode tonight. So Christie Kapoor says, I'm not sure, but my mama always said I'm an old soul, and you said I'm an empath. And though I'm a Gemini, I enjoy being alone, actually, but love company. So you've got a good balance, Christy. Because probably you are Gemini, you're able to cope with that better than other old souls because you have that Gemini influence. So that helps you deal with that. So Sheila says, how do we know what we need to learn in this life? Okay, Sheila, that's where we get into numerology. And this is something I wanted to tell you before we run out of time, is that I've been cleared to become an affiliate of Numerologist.com, and I will be putting some of their stuff on my website for you guys to enjoy. But you can go onto Numerologist.com and find out what your life path number is, what your expression or destiny number is, and it's totally free. All you have to do is go to numerologist.com, and I'll put the link in the comments after we get done, and click on the free numerology reading, and you can find out what your life path number is. Now, for tonight, since we're talking about old souls, the number 9, if your life path number adds up to a number 9. Now, your life path number is your birth date reduced down. Okay, so if your birth date reduces down to a 9, that indicates that you are an old soul. Pretty cool. So it's the digits of your birth date that are reduced down. And if it turns out to be a number 9, then that indicates that you're an old soul. Now, the free reading on numerologist.com, they go into your other life numbers, like your expression and destiny number, and that's calculated from your full name. So don't leave out your middle name. You want to put your middle name in there. You want to put your full name, and it's calculated on the Pythagorean numbers, and that's all reduced down to one number, and that's your expression or destiny number. And then there are other numbers that they calculate on there for you. And that's all free as an introduction to the website. So Trina says hers is 9, and Arthea says hers is 5. Yeah, I mean, all this is so interesting. And remember, numbers are the universe's language. Like anywhere you go on the planet, like if you go to Spain tomorrow, 5 is 5. It's still 5. It doesn't change. So numbers are the universe's language. It's a vibration that we can use to communicate with whatever's out in the universe. So numbers, I highly recommend that numbers are something that everybody should study. And there's all kinds of resources on numerologist.com. So the last thing about being an old soul is you don't relate to the negative behavior of other people. It's very perplexing to you, and it's like your vibration doesn't even jive with that negative energy, and it's a conundrum to you how people can act so negative or brutal or evil. And it's hard for the old soul to conceptualize of that. So my advice to old souls is don't even try, because your vibration doesn't match that person's, and there's no way that communication can take place because you're on 2 totally different vibratory levels. Let's see. Sheila says, do you use, your birth name? It's your birth name, Sheila. And don't forget your middle name when you want to put your birth name in there, and put your middle name as well. So Christy says, I think we are here to touch as many as possible. Absolutely. And love like we are dying. And always be forgiving. Yes, I quite agree with that. And forgiving doesn't mean forgetting, because some people will take advantage of an old soul and, do them wrong over and over. And so we can forgive fully, but try to bear in mind so that you don't get taken advantage of, because old souls are they are taken advantage of quite often. Hey to Carla Booth. So let me talk about some things that are coming up I'm really stoked and excited about. Next week, we're going to go over a really good topic. It is, why do the dead still hang around? I've gotten this question over and over and over, and I thought, well, if I'm getting this question over and over, I need to do a show about it. Is, why are the dead still here? Why haven't they moved on? Why do they not cross over? So Caitlin wants to know, are old souls common? Not real common, but it's not a rarity. Like, it's sort of in between, Caitlin. Like, as far as children goes, in a group of 50, you may have one old soul. So, they're out there, and they're not a rarity, but they're not real common. Hey to Pat Miley. So next Monday, we're going to go over, why are the dead still on this plane of existence? Why are they still in this dimension? Why haven't they moved on? We're going to answer a bunch of questions on that, and that could be a hot topic. But what I'm really excited about, and you guys know I just got back from New Orleans, and while I was down there, I called a good buddy of mine on a little Monday night blurb, Rob Abbott. Shout out to Rob. And we wanted to talk about hoodoo while I was down in New Orleans, but the connection wasn't that good. And so I'm going to bring Rob on the show, and we're going to talk all about hoodoo. Like, what's the difference between voodoo and hoodoo? How did the practice start in New Orleans years ago? I want to chat about what is the difference between hoodoo, how it used to be practiced in Louisiana, and what's the difference in it nowadays. Like, to me, there feels like a big difference. And so that's a special show that's going to be September the 9th. Be sure you mark your calendar for that. And remember that all these past shows are banked on my YouTube channel. You can go to my YouTube channel and watch any of the past shows. There's a ton of shows that are really beneficial to watch. And I will see you guys next Monday night. You guys have a fabulous week. Tear it up. And I will see you next Monday night. Kisses from Kentucky. Bye, guys.